everyone, today we review the CIY GAS67 keyboard. Probably this is the best value keyboard that I have tried so far since I started this hobby last year. For those of you who don't have the time to watch this full review and who's considering to get the GAS67, I'll give you a thumbs up right now. Do get this keyboard. It is one of the best value keyboards. I cannot believe that this is selling for around $60 or 2,900 pesos here in the Philippines. It has almost everything that I'm looking for in a keyboard. It's gasket mounted with proper gasket mounting design. It has good acoustics. The typing feel is really soft. It's really a keyboard that features a lot of premium specs on a budget. I really can't believe it. This should be selling for around twice the price of what it is right now. But yeah, there you go. That's my conclusion. It is the best value keyboard for 2022. Do check out the whole review if you have the time. Please continue to support and watch this channel. So let's dive right into this amazing and awesome keyboard. So let's go to the unboxing and the build guide of the CIY GAS67. Pretty standard box, pretty clean and well packaged. So let's open the box, and first that you will see are the screw-in stabilizers. This is really amazing for the price to come in with its own screw-in stabilizers. And mind you, the screw-in stabilizers are really good. I didn't even find the need to upgrade it. I just lubed them up with lubes. 205 on the housing and XHT-BDC on the stabilizer wires, and that's it. Sounds really good, no rattle at all. We then have the cable, and then the keyboard itself, the PCB, some switch puller. The PCB is north facing with its perky RGB. Probably the only imperfection of this keyboard, but for me this is forgivable. Upon opening the package, these are the contents inside. The keyboard feet. We have a plastic and a rubber feet for this keyboard. You have your screws for the keyboard case as well as a screwdriver. Then you have the screws for the stabilizers. And finally, the gaskets that we will be using. So there are two types of gaskets, the longer ones and the smaller ones. This right here is a rubber dampener that goes underneath the space bar. You have some stabilizer paddings, which I do not use as it feels really mushy. And then there's the manual to show you how to adjust the RGB colors and other function and layers of this keyboard. The keyboard top and lower case. Polycarbonate plate, which is really soft and flexy. A silicone dampener, which reminds me so much of the KBD67 Lite. And its own PE foam. This keyboard at 3,000 pesos has its own PE foam. That's crazy. And lastly, but not the least, get this, you have a daughter board. At 3,000 pesos, you have a PE foam and a daughter board. That's how crazy this keyboard is. For those who have experience in building keyboards, the build process of this keyboard is pretty straightforward and easy. You don't even have to have a manual. But for those who are beginners and whose first keyboard will be the CIY GAS67, then this build guide is for you. Very simple. First thing that you have to do is put the gaskets on the lower and upper case. Just make sure that they are aligned properly as it will be seen on the final product. So you don't want that aesthetically if it's not properly aligned and fitted. If you want to experiment, you can actually try not placing all the gasket strips. Usually in my gasket mounted keyboards, I don't put the gaskets on the sides of the case. But with this one, I think it doesn't make that much of a difference. So I just put them all together. Next thing that you do is you tune your stabilizers and put them in place. So again, pretty straightforward. Again, really impressed with the stabilizers. I just lube them up, no need for holy mod, and there's no rattle whatsoever. The next thing you put is the PE foam, and again, this technique is better for me than rather than removing the stabilizers. I just cut through the parts of the PE foam and then slide them in so that I can remove and place the PE foam anytime I want. So depending on the sound profile that you like, you can try to run this keyboard with or without the PE foam. I personally like it with the PE foam. Next thing that you put is the silicone dampener. Just align everything, and then finally the plate. So I do run into some minor problem with the PE foam not being perfectly aligned, but it's okay, it works. And don't forget that small rubber thingy, that's where it should go. It's under the space bar. And then you put on your switches. Again, please make it a practice that when you're putting your hot swaps, when you're using a hot swap PCB and you're putting in your switches, support the hot swap sockets. So it's either you do this on a flat surface, or better if you support them with your fingers at the back while inserting the switches. The last step would be to put the daughter board and finally screw in together the upper and the lower case. There are 8 screws in total. Please be careful when screwing this, as I see 2 potential problems. You can break the case because there's no metal standoff to hold the screws. It's just plastic to plastic. And number 2, the screws seems like it's very easy to lose the thread. So be careful, make sure you use the proper screwdriver. And after that, be sure to place in the rubber feet and the plastic feet that will help you adjust the height of the keyboard if necessary. So very straightforward process. So in this build, I used the Green Snake linear switches. This was sent over by Zion Studios PH. Let's check out their webpage, their Shopee page, for the specifications of the switch. So these switches come in at 34 pesos per switch. These are your Moyu Green Snake linear switches. It's a linear switch with 65 gram spring weight and an extended gold-plated spring. So it is a 20mm spring. This is a long spring compared to your usual linear spring switches, and lately I've been having fun with your quote-unquote special springs for linear switches with the likes of the Zaku's and the Epsilon switches. The extended spring of the Green Snake feels really nice. There's a very good bottom out and topping out feeling with these switches. Before, one of my favorite go-to switches were the Duroc Palms, and it still is right now. However, compared to these springs, the feeling of the Duroc Palms kinda became a little bit boring. It's not bad, but it felt a bit dull compared to these switches with weird springs on them. Alright, so going back, the Green Snake is composed of polycarbonate top housing with a nylon bottom housing material, a palm stem, and this is manufactured by JWK. Zion told me that these uses the same mold as the alpacas, and I really love the sound of these switches. They come in the middle ground, not too deep and muted. They're not too clacky, so it's a good kind of clock, but it's leaning towards the thocky side of the spectrum. And these are lubed with Zion's own lubes, and it's really good. No spring ping, very smooth. I love typing on them. Probably one of my favorite switches right now. So let's do a quick comparison with these 5 switches. For me, among the linear switches that I have tried so far, these are high tier switches. They're on the more expensive price point. Are they worth it? Yes, absolutely. This is the Lube Green Snake. This is the Lube Zaku, the Lube Duroc Palm, and the stock Epsilons and CJ. So as you can tell, the Epsilons and the CJs, personally for me, again, this is a very subjective hobby. For me, that's how good the Epsilons and the CJs are. You don't even need to lube them. Whereas for these three switches, I feel that it's best used when it's lube. Let's first start comparing them with smoothness. And again, I've already mentioned the Epsilons, the CJs, very smooth out of the box. You don't even have to lube them. These are one of the smoothest switches that I've tried so far, followed by the Zakus and the Green Snake and the Duroc Palms, if they are not yet lubed. But once lubed, these are again pretty smooth switches. I don't even think there's a use ranking them in terms of smoothness, because once lubed, I have nothing to complain. They're very smooth. Okay, sound profile, from the clackiest to the deepest or thockiest, Zakus definitely are very clacky switches. Zakus are very clacky, followed by CJs, which have a very unique clack in them. The sound profile of the CJs are very unique. And then the Duroc Palm, the Green Snake, and for me the Epsilons would have the deepest sound profile among these 5 switches. Alright, what about loudness? When it comes to loudness, again, the Zaku is the loudest. These are very loud switches. It will wake up your wife when she's sleeping at the middle of the night. So the Zakus are very loud. So the Epsilons are also very loud. So the Zakus, the Epsilons, followed by the Palm, the CJ, probably on the same loudness level, and then the Green Snake. So that would be my personal ranking in terms of sound profile of these 5 switches. So again, these are all very good switches. You don't even have to ask yourself which one will be smoother. They're all smooth. It just depends on the sound profile that you're looking for. If you're looking for the clacky sound profile, then I would recommend Zakus, the Palm, or the CJ, depending on the taste that you want. And if you're looking for that deeper sounding profile, the Epsilons and the Green Snake would be a good choice. Again, typing feel, the Zakus, the Epsilon, and the Green Snakes would have not the usual spring in them, so it's a very good experience. It's good to try if you haven't tried it yet. So that's it. So again, the Moyu Green Snake switches, really good switches. I really enjoyed using them on my Freebird 60 on the GAS67. I think you should consider getting this. It really looks nice as well. So you have that matcha vibe going on there, creamy matcha milkshake vibe going on. So as you've heard, the sound profile of this keyboard is already good. There's actually not a lot to modify. You could actually use this keyboard as it is. There's no hollowness. The sound is really good, very deep and throcky. It even comes in with its own PE foam. There's one thing that I will be trying to modify though, would be to add some more flex and bounciness by replacing the gaskets with the D65. D65 gasket strips. This is way thicker than the stock gasket that this keyboard comes with. So don't get me wrong, there is already a good amount of flex with this keyboard, but we're just going to try to add some more of the flex. So after removing all of the gasket strips in this keyboard, what I'm going to try to do is to put the thicker D65 gasket strips on limited points in this keyboard, just the center points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And because these are thicker, I have to remove the gasket strips on the top case. I think that will work. I don't think that you need the gasket strips on the top case, just on the lower case. I will not be putting the strips on the side as well. And let's see how that works. Alright, after doing that, let's check it out. Very basic, no? Very simple. Wow, that does feel a lot bouncy and soft. I wonder how it translates when you close the case. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. So next I will be trying to run the configuration without the silicone dampener. And what I do like about this keyboard is you can readily do that. Just remove the dampener and everything will function properly, unlike the KBD67 wherein they use the dampener as the gasket mounting system as well. So this one, you don't have to deal with that problem. So just be careful when putting it back. You can actually use a plate fork. I don't have that one, so what I did is this method. So I put in the switches on the plate and then I will align them slowly and gently onto the PCB. So that is the sound profile with the silicone dampener removed. It's a bit more lively, still very clean sounding keyboard. With the gasket modification that we just did and removing the silicone dampener, the typing feel is really soft and bouncy, just the way I like it. I do personally prefer the configuration with the silicone dampener, as this would be my go-to Thok keyboard, Thok deeper sound profile keyboard, as I have a lot of other aluminum keyboards in my rotation which I've specifically built to be more clacky and more loud. So I will probably bring back the silicone dampener and try out some other switches with this keyboard. So as a final thought, what can I say about the GAS67? It's nearly perfect. It's crazy that this keyboard is priced at 2,900 pesos. So that's around 60 US dollars. It's really crazy. You have a proper gasket mounted keyboard with a proper typing feel, with a very good acoustics. You have a daughter board that is crazy for this price point. The case is plastic, but it does not feel cheap. I don't see any imperfections on the aesthetics of this keyboard. Despite being plastic, it's really clean, it's really nice. I really can't believe that this keyboard is priced as such. This could easily be sold at 2 times the price of what it is selling right now. And again, Near Lucid pointed it out. It's nearly perfect except for one fatal flaw. And for me, it's actually not a fatal flaw, but it is a significant flaw. It's nearly perfect except that it came in with a north-facing PCB. Had this come in with a south-facing PCB, then probably this would have been perfect. So again, there are a lot of switches out there in the market right now which you could still use in case you wanted to do a cherry profile build. So you can still use the Gatron Oil Kings, some other long pole switches. They would work perfectly fine, but they almost, I think they went all out with this keyboard. Could have been better with a south-facing PCB. At the end of the day, I am not complaining. I am keeping this keyboard. It's an awesome keyboard. It is a steal for the price. The KBD67 reminds me so much of this keyboard, but the KBD67 had almost no flex and no bounce. That keyboard was bouncing because of the rubber feet. This keyboard has a legitimate gasket mounting design. It has a legitimate flex, and this keyboard costs 1/3 to 1/2 the price of the KBD67 Lite. The only thing that the KBD67 Lite, in my opinion, has an advantage with this keyboard is that it is south-facing PCB and it has VIA compatibility, and it has a lot of color options. This keyboard, as of this review, has only 3 color options. Then again, we always go back to the price. You factor in the price, you don't have any right to complain with this keyboard. It's super good. It's super good. This is probably the best value keyboard of 2022 that I have personally tried and tested as of May 24, 2022. So really excited. It's been a long time since I started this channel that I got super excited with a keyboard. And thank you CIY. Thank you for making the GAS67 keyboard. It opens up a huge opportunity for those beginning in this hobby, for those who are not yet willing to splurge a huge amount of money. They now have this option to experience the sound of a proper gasket mounted keyboard, the typing feel of a proper gasket mounted keyboard. So that's my conclusion. Again, please do like and subscribe. Support this channel. Help me make this channel grow. Awesome support, guys. We're nearing 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. A lot of the viewers are not yet subscribed. Please do subscribe and keep this channel going. So this is Talkie Dokie signing out.